Join us at a Friends of NRA event where freedom, fun, and firearms come together like nowhere else. With more than 600 events held across the country, there's always one happening near you. From exciting games to exclusive auctions featuring one-of-a-kind firearms and gear you won't find anywhere else. Whether you're a lifelong hunter, a competitive shooter, or simply passionate about defending freedom, there is a seat for you. Visit friendsofnra.org to find an event near you and get ready for a night you won't forget.
Hey guys, this is Melissa Bachman. Are you ready to stop spooking deer before it's even time to hunt them? Then you need the new Flex S Dark cellular trail camera from SpyPoint. With a no-glow flash option, long-lasting solar power, and a ton of settings that can be changed anytime through the SpyPoint app, there are no more excuses for letting your deer get wise before the season even starts. So check it out for yourself and see why the SpyPoint Flex S Dark is the unstoppable and undetectable scouting tool you need for your next hunt.
All right, everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Bow Hunter Chronicles podcast, brought to you by Huntworth. Huntworth gear for all types of weather, all types of terrain, all types of budgets. It's clothing that just works. Check them out at huntworthgear.com. So, first successful hunt of the year in the books. This is a recap of our bear camp in the UP. Real cool to have Joe up there to video it and kick things off for us. In the opening of the podcast, I say hopefully in a couple days when the podcast comes out, I'll be able to tell you that my dad got a bear as well. Last night he did shoot a male. He shot a boar, a little bit smaller than the one that I shot, but bear all the same. So that's two DIY bears off of our property. Bait we mixed up, all that. So just really cool. Never having hunted bears up there. And to take two off of the same property, pretty awesome. Pretty excited about that. So this is just a hunt recap on that. But yeah, super happy to have, been able to do that. Wild, things you don't think about, getting the damn thing out of the woods. Pretty wild. But yeah, so podcast, you guys are going to like it. Super interesting. My dad, Joe, and myself kind of recapping the events of the hunt. Little housekeeping stuff. Patreon hunt in full swing. Planning for that. Huntworth sent us a ton of stuff to give away. Big Shot is sending us a target for the largest doe taken at camp. And then Latitude is putting something together for us. So get over there. Huntworth has 20% off sale going on right now. I think through the end of September. Latitude, you can save 15% using code BHC. This was the first hunt of the year for me. I had set in the Method 3 a little bit, but used the Method 3 and those operator pouches, I think that they're called, and super comfortable saddle. Real happy with it, and those pouches are great. Really enjoyed them. Always first couple sits of the year, a little fumbling around, getting your stuff together. So a little bit of that, but and this hunt was right after the rain, so I was using the Huntworth rain gear, and was really happy to have it because it was basically rainy the whole time that we were up there. So if you're in the market for rain gear, check out that sale over there at Huntworth. But yeah, pretty cool. One other thing that we got going on, you can go over to the Bow Hunter Chronicles Opportunist page on Facebook, and there is a link to a harvest log on there. So we've been talking with like Josh Arbogast, Jordan Hoover, and talking about doe harvest and things like that. And so the guys from Rome, we were talking about it a couple months ago, like how many deer we shot last year. And I think together the 5 of us shot like 26 deer, something like that. And we were curious as to like the Patreons, the podcast listeners, what we were actually doing as far as like doe harvest and buck harvest, like what our ratios were. So right now, as of September 23rd, and you can register, and it's not for anything. It's not registering anything. It's just, marking down like what you've got on there. But we've as a group harvested 8 animals already within the early doe season, youth hunt. Barefoot Dave has killed 4 deer already. Robbie with a doe, Tom Taylor with a bull elk on opening day. Going to get him on the podcast here real soon to kind of go over that. His method of hunting and kind of the way that he goes about it, it's a little bit different than most people talk about. So want to talk about that and, early season success, especially with elk, right there at the beginning of the season is pretty awesome. So fun story. And then William Clark Boys, always putting it down. And he shot a really nice buck in the youth season. So my bear's on there. And but it's just going to be fun to be able to kind of track all of that and see, if we're, kind of like you say, put your money where your mouth is, like, oh, we need to shoot more does. Oh, we need to do this. We need to do that. But are we really following that? So it's just kind of a fun way to kind of see if or how we're making an impact, by doing this and reaching out to the listeners and things like that. So head over to the Bow Hunter Chronicles Opportunist Facebook page, and you can find that link on there. I'm going to put it in the description of the podcast too, so you can just click on there. It's just a Google sheet to fill out. You don't have to put in any other information other than, kind of what you got going on. So, but this podcast, super fun. Like I said, the story, getting the thing out and kind of the craziness that ensued when the bear did come in, is kind of fun to recount. So I think you guys are going to really enjoy it. As always, thanks for listening. All right, everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Bow Hunter Chronicles podcast. And we are here in camp, the first bear camp here at our camp in the UP. I've got my dad, Charlie, and my good buddy. You may know him from Generations to Hunt, the brainchild behind Rome, and cameraman extraordinaire Joe Davis. So so this is the first hunt at our deer camp for bear, and so we had been putting in for points for a little while, and this year was the first year that the timelines kind of lined up where we were pretty certain that we were going to draw and we weren't going to be elk hunting. So just decided that we were going to put in. Had another buddy that was supposed to do it, and he just bought a point and didn't apply. So sorry, Bill. And then, so called in a bear. We were seeing bears here quite often. I called one in turkey hunting. You guys have seen that video. And that's kind of how it went. So, Dad, for you, like, how long have you been coming up here to this camp?
Oh, boy. I'd have to do the math. I think right around 52 years.
And so in that time, what's been the climate or like the experience with bears here?
Nil. I mean, other than the one time I was bow hunting 10 years ago, I saw one, and it hit my track and backed out and was gone in 2 minutes, a minute, whatever.
But over the years, they've been coming in. We've had them on camera here right in front of the camp. I mean, had one basically come right up, try to get in the camp while you were here and all that, right?
Yeah, we have a turkey feeder out here, spits out corn every once in a while, and every now and then a bear will come in and lay down underneath the feeder and eat up all the corn. And one day I was up here and looked out. There's a bear out there. Next thing I know, he's walking right toward the camp here. Went up right in front of the door, looked around, over to my car, looked around, and then walked off. I had him on video on my phone, and then that phone died, and I lost everything, so I don't have that anymore.
And then we used to have nuisance bears, like back in the day before we had the pole barn and the bait storage type situation we've got now.
The siding on this camp was like asphalt roofing, and bears would routinely come in and mark their territory or sharpen their claws on it, whatever they'd do, but they'd rip it up. So we put aluminum siding all the way around.
And so what was your like expectation for bear camp, like for bear season, I guess?
Well, put me on the spot here. I just wanted to come up and hunt and have fun. I was hoping to get a bear. I still am. I got a lot of season left.
And so you're planning on just staying up here until you shoot a bear?
I told my wife I was staying up here till I shot a bear, and if I got one early, I wasn't telling her because I wasn't coming back. So,
and for you, Joe, like I don't even remember like how I was like, oh, I'm gonna go do bear, and I think that was when we were doing all the roam stuff, and you were like, well, I'll just come up and film you. Is that kind of like how you remember
it? Went. I think I just invited myself and just said, hey, I'll come up there and film, and cause I don't know, I get enjoyment out of that, and I got 10 points too of bear, and I'd have like no plan of doing it, but it's always to go up there and watch somebody else struggle and maybe learn from their mistakes. But it was just something I kind of want to just tag along.
And so for you this year, you've kind of, I don't want to say like foregone hunting, like going into the season, but you've kind of said, okay, well, I'm not going to buy a tag for this. I'm not going to buy a tag for this, and I'm just going to film. So you've put that money for like out-of-state tags and stuff into like filming gear. Like what drives that for you?
I don't know. I just, for years, I started the podcast a few years ago, and I watched it evolve, and I wanted to change directions in it, and I really was doing all the legwork, if you want to say, and then eventually I just got to a point where I was just like, well, I really want to do something else, and then we came up with this idea of roam. So, we got the foundation down of all the guys and all that, and I was like, well, if we really going to commit to this, then it kind of, I guess everybody wants to be the trigger man sometimes, but I was like, I'll sacrifice something or whatever you want to call it and just run with the camera, and I'll happily do that just to videotape us and our adventures, if you want to call them.
And when you like kind of devolved from the podcast, when you said you wanted to do something different, that was more video production.
Yeah, I think like, don't get me wrong, like I love podcasting and like I do miss it and all that, but it was just, I wanted to bring, like I've always had this fascination with bringing stuff to life through a camera lens and all that, and hopefully I can do that. And I feel like this was like, I don't want to be on camera. That's a weird thing, you know what I mean? Like I was like, I love doing camera stuff, but it was only me videotaping myself, and I just didn't like that because it's like so hard sometimes to capture what I wanted to capture by myself. So, and
so hearing like, so what we've done, and we'll get into that in just a second. Like, so you just said, okay, you're going to bear hunt. I'll come film you. Like, what were your expectations?
I don't know. I don't know where they had none. I mean, we've shared camp so many times and all that. I just knew we were just going to be running around like we kind of do. And, I mean, you've been sending me pictures for at least a month now, kind of, or I don't know when you got your initial bait set and all that, like, and then you just were sharing pictures. So I was like, okay, well, we got something to work with. So I was like, we're not going up there looking. That's half the battle is trying to find bears. Like we talked about how bear hunting is so much kind of different than whitetails and all that. Is when whitetails you don't have there. You go looking for sign and all that. Well, with bears, sometimes you can find some sign and all that, but it's just like, this looks like a berry area, if you want to say that. Hopefully they come here to establish a bait. Well, or you can have bears on your bait every day, and then all of a sudden you hunt it and just bears are gone. So
yeah. And so like for the camp, I mean, you were like, what do I need to bring? Like, do you have this? Do you have that? Like, are we going to have running water? Are we going to do that? So like you've walked like the property like quite a bit, and you've spent a lot of time in the outhouse, and then you've seen like what's going on here at camp. So
Adam's the one cooking, so that explains a lot of the outhouse visits. So yeah, like everybody, I've been to the UP a handful of times, but and my camp at home, and is a little bit different. Like we have contractor trailers or trailer double wides from like, we don't have running water, we don't have power and all that. Everything's battery operated. So there's certain things should I, if I don't have power, a lot of these camera equipment and all that, I got to find resources like bunch of power banks and stuff and all that, and then running water is pretty important. I mean, I don't need it, but I'm just saying, like, just stuff you got to prepare for. You just don't go in blind and all that. But I think I don't think as rustic as I've seen some dirt floor cabins still and all that.
Yeah, no, I mean, like when I first started coming up here, like we didn't have the pole barn, we didn't have the porch on the front. We didn't have power. Like we were running off of a generator, and we still had the kerosene lights. Now, granted, when I came up here, that time was when they were cutting in the power, I think. No, actually, we were up here before that because we went to the off-road races, but I was really little then. But yeah, so getting into the bear hunt, like, okay, we drew our tags. And then for me, like, and my wife says, you're a liar. Like, this is not true. But, like, for hunting season, she's very gracious. Like, oh, you're going to hunt. Where are you going this year? What are the dates? Just let me know. But, like, I say I give her the summer, like, because we do a lot of camping and stuff like that. And she's like, well, you still do this and you still do this. And you have tack, like, right in the middle of it and all this stuff. Like, yeah, I get it. But I at least in my mind, I try, But for this, and I guess like for elk hunting, you think about elk hunting as like, I'm leaving on this day and I'm going. And it's not even as early as like this. I mean, Frank's not leaving. I think they left this morning to go elk hunting. John's out there right now. But so to go like, okay, well, baiting starts like in August. And it's like, well, holy shit, there's like, that's part of my summer. That's part of like the stuff. So my dad and Frank ended up having to come up here and bait. And so one of the guys local to us, he's drew a bear tag downstate. So he's got bait, and we did like a bait co-op. So I bought a bunch of bait, and he got a bunch of popcorn for free. He got a crap ton of honey for free. And then he traded some honey for some more bait. So we mixed all that up and sent them up here. And so when you came up here, Dad, and you were baiting and trying to figure out these spots, like what was your, like, because this is all brand new to all of us, Well,
I was just looking for areas of the property that were near swamp access. I figured all the videos and podcasts that I listened to on bear baiting said, particularly this summer, that the bears don't like hot. Well, it was hot all summer up until about yesterday. And so we wanted to be near lowland, swampland, where they can wallow in the mud if they want. Some of the podcasts I listened to, your podcast, in fact, with Dan Envold, talked about bears laying in low ground, mud, whatever. And so we were looking for areas like that. And, of course, this is a pretty good piece of property. I was trying to spread them out because we brought up 5 bait stations, 5 barrels, whatever you want to call them. And so we spread them out, looked it over, and I felt comfortable with what we did. I don't know. I also wanted to be able to access them pretty easy to bring bait in. So,
And then with that, like, how soon after setting the baits did you get pictures? Because my 2 cameras just were shit. They didn't.
It didn't take long. It didn't take long at all. It took, I would say, maybe 3 days. And then, we filled them up pretty much. And we could tell they were empty because all of a sudden we wouldn't be getting bears. So I took a second run up here and filled them back up. And every time I'd go in there, it was like 3 days, and then they'd start showing up again. So.
Okay. Then we had a family reunion. It was about a little bit over a week. So it was basically like a week, and then, like, I don't know, 10 days, 11 days. And then you came back up here, came and baited. And then we came up. You came up on Monday morning.
Yeah, I left Monday morning.
Yeah, and then we came up Wednesday morning. So, and had you hunted at all before we got here?
Not much. I mean, I didn't hunt the bait sites. I did hunt down by the apple trees that we have here, but I didn't go out and hunt the bait sites.
And there was nothing showing up, like, really in daylight on the cameras.
Very, very rarely. I think probably in the whole month that we were baiting, I think two or 3 pictures is all.
Yeah, and then so we rolled in. Well, we actually met you. You were in town, and we must have, like, passed each other. And you texted me, and you're like, "Hey, let me know when you get to Escanaba." And I'm like, "We're already through Escanaba." And I'm like, "We're like just past Bark River." And he's like, "Well, I just passed Bark River." So we stopped, had lunch, and then came to camp. And then we went out and baited, right?
Yeah.
And what was the temperature?
Oh, it was hot. I think we all went out with, like, it wasn't raining. No, it wasn't raining.
No, it wasn't raining.
No, but yeah, it was really hot. I mean,
It was like upper 80s.
Yeah.
Like hot. And we were sweating, and I was like, this is, I was like, I don't think we're going to hunt today. And then we're just dinking around at camp, and then I went outside to take a piss, and it was like this storm, like, blew in, like the wind was, like, going crazy, and the temperature dropped 25 degrees.
Yeah.
I don't know, easily. And so we're like, oh, we got to hunt. Well, I know that I've said it before, like, a million times, but this camp is like in a vortex of a time zone. So it's, how far is it from the eastern? We're in the central time zone for how long? For how many?
20 miles.
Yeah.
Maybe.
And so it's getting better now, but our phones used to bounce back and forth off different things. So everything here is in Wisconsin. And so, like, the TV's in Wisconsin, like, everything's in Wisconsin. And so we always have this running joke about, like, our time or their time or whatever. Well, and my dad, he still operates on Eastern time. So he's like, I'm not going out until this time. And we're like, well, what do you mean? And then he's like, oh, no, I don't change from Eastern time at all. So,
Nope.
so I go out there, and, like, and Joe's out there messing with the cameras because, like, the leaves were blowing. Like, it was.
Yeah, I was like, oh, this is fun. This is, we're not going to go hunting and all that.
And I'm like, I think we need to go sit in a tree. And he's like, okay. And I swear I looked at I did look at the Bear Digest thing, and it gave, like, last shooting times, but I didn't read, like, the fine print that said that those were, like, in Eastern time or, like, whatever. And then I swear I looked on Spartan Forge, but it may have been, like, I may have still been on, like, back home, like, on a waypoint, because I just clicked on the intel, and I clicked on like the last light, and I swear it was like 8 something. So I was like
8:12 or something like that.
And I was like, we got plenty of time. Like, let's just go get out there. And so we get our stuff ready. And for everybody, I mean, I don't think this is, maybe it's a big deal for you, Dad, but it's not as big of a deal as it is, I think, for Joe and I. Joe maybe even more so than me, because he had so we had to get all of our first stuff ready for one thing that I almost forgot, and I always forget on the first set of the year, is like my knee pads for the saddle. Mm-hmm. And so I'm using that new saddle, the Method 3, so I had to make sure that everything had been swapped over. I got that, and then platform and sticks and everything. And so it took us a while to get going, and we get, well, what were you going to say?
I was just, because it was the first set of the year, and I think we're all trying stuff that we acquired, and we're getting all new gear and all that. And then I was just like, this is my first time running a bigger camera and stuff. So, and then I had to get it all situated, and we're just trying to get all our bearings. And like we said, we just got I mean, you should have seen all of our stuff out in the front room, and then down here, I think we had. I literally had 6 backpacks with me at camp, and I'm not joking. I had laptop backpack, 2 camera backpack, and just backpack for hunting, and then another backpack. I'm like, because I didn't know what I was gonna use. I didn't know. This was like our trial run to see how we were gonna do. So I mean, we didn't take too long. I think we were pretty. It's not like, oh, when you hear too long, like, oh, they took an hour to get ready. I don't think we were like that, but I think we were like, it
was like, oh, we're gonna get out and go hunting. Like,
but we had time. We thought we were like, we're
gonna have 2 hours plus. Like, it'll be fine.
And we're like, we're good. The storm kind of rolled in, and we were like, we just baited. It just felt like we just got back from baiting too. So we're like, we were just in there. So hopes weren't there. You know what I mean? No daylight photos and all this. So,
and so then finally we get all set and ready to go. And so we start walking out there, and I'm like, okay, well, from the where the camera is sitting, and like from where the access is, and this is like right off of the tow road. I mean, it's literally like right there. We are walking in, and on the camera, like when the bears come in, it looks like they walk right down this lane. And so we're like, I don't want to walk there. I want to walk to like the trees that we kind of picked out when we set the baits, and I want to walk straight to those trees. And then when I got there and looked at the trees, it was like the absolute, like the trees that I hate the most, just because I've been burned on them. Like when you sit in a double tree, like I like double trees, and I had triple trees and all that type of set. But if you have to be on like one of the inside trees and your bow has to be on the outside tree, and I just had this little tiny thing. So we stood there for a good 5 minutes, 10 minutes, like looking at trees, because we couldn't get in the same tree. So Joe got up a different tree than I did, and we were looking at like where we were going to go, where did we want to be, like what's going on. And then we finally like figured it out. Like, okay, well, I am going to get in that tree, and you go in that tree. So we start going up, and I wasn't like paying attention to Joe or like whatever. Like, I mean, we've hunted. I know he knows how to climb a tree, and like it was an easy tree to climb. It was a small tree, but like it wasn't like I wasn't paying attention. So I get up, I'm going up my tree, and then the tree that I had to hang my backpack and my bow on was like the size of a softball. And so I had to tighten on my strap, and then I didn't have a carabiner to hang my backpack on, so I had to figure that out. And I didn't have anywhere to hang my quiver because I didn't have a carabiner or whatever for that. So I'm just fumbling around up there, and it probably took, I don't know, how long did it take to get set up, you think?
I don't know. Kind of, I don't know, 10 minutes probably.
And you were obviously up the tree and set up before I was.
Yeah,
right?
I was, first time cameraman, like full time like that. Like, I was like, I don't want to be the guy dicking around forever. So like, I got up there pretty quick, I think, and I got everything. I had an easier tree than Adam for sure. So I got up there pretty set up there, and I was just getting all the camera setting going and all that, and he was still getting ready. So
I get up and I get everything set, and I'm like comfortable. And I start pulling my bow up, and I look over, and I was like, no frickin' way. And there's this bear, this big, giant frickin' bear coming, like, I think when I picked it up, it was probably 50 yards away. And it just lumbered down, and it got right to the edge of the, like, where my dad and I had put up a corn feeder for the kids, and the bears had broke the feeder mechanism off, so we got to fix that. But it got to, like, right there, and it was, like, looking around, and my bow was on the ground, and I was, like, just starting to lift it up. And then I guess this is kind of like where you can, like...
Well, I was all set up, you know. I wasn't really, you know, like I said, I was dicking around with the camera stuff, and I you know, getting all my... Because I had 2 bags with me. I had a shoulder strap bag and all this. I got all situated so, you know, I could put the camera down if I want to, you know. It's a pretty decent-sized camera. You can't put it on an arm. And so I was like, oh, he's pulling up his bow. He finally started pulling up his bow. And I was like, I'm going to take a sweet shot of the bow going up while he's pulling it up to him. You know what I mean? So I'm on the bow with my camera. I'm just looking, you know, through at the monitor. And it's like maybe 20, 30 seconds. The bow, I mean, it's off the ground. But it's like the cam is touching the ground. It's like 30 seconds. I'm just still like focusing on this shot. Like, I'm like, what the F are you doing, Adam? And I look up at Adam, and he's just stone cold right there. I was like, no effing way. There's a bear right there right now. And it's at my 6 o'clock basically. And I have like a tree in it. I was like, look over my shoulder, and I just see a black blob, and I was like, slowly panning over to the camera to the bear, and then
yeah. So I was like, I was just like stuck there, and then the bear was like kind of like looking around, and like in my mind, I was like, we were just down there, like in first bear hunt, like over bait, first anything, and like what we said at the beginning, like hating this fact that like you are like a slave to like the bait, and the bear has to be there, and like whatever. So I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, this is my one opportunity. So I just have to like get this bow up. So I like start moving the bow up, and then the bear like must have seen the bow and turned around, and like I thought, like in my mind, like the way that I remember it, it just kind of like lumbered up the thing, but like seeing it on the video, it like kind of like took off running.
Yeah.
But it was a big bear.
Yeah, it was.
So it was like
Hobbling.
Yeah, it was going as fast as it could. So I looked at Joe, and Joe, me and him were just like, what the fuck? Like,
know.
It was like devastating. Like, I mean, and there was so much light left. Like, it wasn't like right at last light. It wasn't.
It was perfect.
You know.
It was, and at that point, we didn't know what the fuck happened, because obviously bears don't have a schedule or nothing. We were like, why would they come this early? I mean, in a sense, but like in our eyes, we didn't.
We were there an hour earlier than we were.
Yeah. So yeah, that's the problem. We noticed, because after we sat, it basically. Well, I don't want to spoil. I guess we.
Yeah. Well, when we sat, it just like got dark.
It just like after that, we're like, okay, maybe it'll come back, and then we're like, we sat for what 45 minutes, maybe an hour. But like when we were getting out, we're like, wow, that was.
I was like looking at it, and it was like we should still have like an hour's worth of light. I'm like, I'm pretty sure like this is. And I was like, I'm pretty sure this is last light.
Yeah.
Like an hour sooner.
Yeah. So, I mean, what I thought, like every time I've seen a bear in Michigan or whatever, on bait or whatever, I haven't gone a lot. So it's like, it's like almost twilight hour, and then it's like boom. But yeah, dude, it's just the devastation of just. You just know the feeling, and especially because you don't have like no history of light or
daylight pictures,
and this bear coming in. I don't know, because it did feel like it was gonna storm, so maybe that pushed the bear to come in there a little bit early or something. So that's why it came in at that time, and we were like, it was just such a gut. And I didn't even have a bow. I'm just like, dude, this hurts. This hurts. You feel like you almost do everything right in a sense. You know, there was a lot of mistakes, but it's just like just something so silly like that.
And so then when we got back, and like you heard the story, like what was your like thoughts?
I thought, oh crap, there goes our the opportunity of the opportunity of a lifetime or whatever. But I couldn't believe that on the first hunt in the first hour.
The first
bear,
10 minutes.
Yeah, it wasn't even that.
Well, I wasn't there, so the bear showed up, and it was a good bear. It wasn't some little cubby thing.
Yeah, so I was like, I mean, and it was just like the whole rest of the night you're just sitting there and like just like kicking yourself, and it's like if we would have just did this, or if we would have just did this, or we would have just did this, because obviously we got in quiet enough and everything. And one thing I didn't like take into account, except for like right now talking about it, is the fact that we were right there and we had walked right past that. We had walked in and walked out a bunch of times right past there. So she may have got to our ground scent like from earlier in the day and then just turned around.
Yeah.
And I mean, I don't think that the bow helped.
I don't think she was at the trailhead yet, or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
But I mean, she could have. We were looking at trees. We were kind of, I didn't say we like stomped around that place, but we were definitely looking for some trees.
Well, I mean, like when we set bait.
That's what I'm saying. When we were
walked
baited
right down that trail, like
yeah, but she wasn't really there, was she? But
it was close.
I mean, it was. I don't know how their nose is good, so I'm just saying. I don't know. It was very heartbreaking.
But I was just sitting there just thinking like,
I know
my
we
God,
should have.
like,
I didn't record it maybe because I'm a rookie at this, but it was just like just shaking our heads for at least 10 minutes. It's going, there's no effing way that just freaking happened like that. Like a script from a book, dude. You're just like, there's no way we just played that out, and it just because even though we have 4 days probably pretty much to schedule the hunt, we're just like. That just hurts.
Well, and that's the same thing as like, we've never done this before. So it's not like we're coming to the guide and they're like, oh, they come here every day and like da-da-da. They know, like, no, we had no idea. And so that night, nothing hit the baits, like any of the baits. Mm-mm. And so you and I, what did we do? Like we walked around, I think.
I think you just showed me some of the deer stuff. We didn't go near that bait site. I think, didn't we set one more? Or no? Did we not set?
I don't think, because nothing hit any of the baits, so
No.
we didn't do anything. Did you set any baits or anything? Yeah, I think.
No, we just set the bait the first day then.
Yeah, so I think we messed around down here and went and pulled my other camera and looked at that site. And the first day we went and looked at the other site that had like shut down.
Yeah.
And so. And I was like, I don't know if we should go back there, if we should try and sit somewhere else. And then what did you say?
I said, well, the rule of thumb is like, don't leave deer to find deer. So I was like, dude, don't leave bear to find bear. We had one, and we had pictures of other bear on that site, not recently, and they were nighttime. But, the theory is we just refilled this, and I know sometimes other bears, even smaller bears, get more competitive to hit the baits before the mature bears do. It's ramping up, hibernation season's coming up. So we counted that bear out. That bear was spooked. We'll probably never see it again. So we were like, well, hopefully other bears will hit that. And we kind of left our set because how disgusted we were. We're like, just leave our set. You did say, I don't know. Well, you never even told me. I said, don't leave your sticks. Something will eat them. What will eat my sticks?
No, what? Well, so like that was the thing. I was like, I didn't want like the bears to come in the evening and like go rip our thing, because how everybody's like, if you touch the baits and then you touch your trail camera, like the bears are going to eat your cameras and all that stuff. Okay. And how many? I mean, I think everybody's had a camera that's been messed with by a bear, and so like now we're basically like inviting them there, and we're just leaving our stick. So I took my bottom stick and I think the bear could have reached my next stick.
Yeah.
But I would just,
bears climb trees.
Yeah, well, I was just taking like the low hanging fruit. I was hoping that they would like look and they'd be like, "Oh, yours are right there." Okay. So that's what I was. That's that was just like.
Well,
the
you
thought
said
process.
eat, and I was like, "What the?" What's he out here eating some carbon out here? But okay, but yeah, we left our sets, and I don't know if I talked Adam into staying to this bait site because he was kind of determined.
Well, you definitely did.
Well,
because he was ready to.
Well, I was just so disgusted.
So, we talked him off the edge and all that, and we said we're gonna go back to this bait site, and we're gonna come early, and we're gonna sit at this bait site, and we're gonna hammer it out and see what we can do.
Yeah, and so we went in there, and we didn't go in there like super early. We went in there just like
I felt like we kind of got in there a little bit earlier.
I feel like it got dark. It like I think last shooting light was sometime around like 7:20, something like that.
Central.
Yeah.
Central.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it was like 7:20, something like that. And so we got in there like 4:30, maybe, set up.
Yeah. But it was, quick set. Just put your sticks back on, apparently. And then then get back in the tree, and we were all...
And my tree strap was already set up. I got something to hang my quiver on. I got everything like set up like pretty. It was just there. It was like the first night was like literally like that first sit of the year where you don't know where any of your stuff is. Like, which pocket did I leave this in? Like all that stuff. And I know you guys that are listening, you're like, you got to be practicing all summer long and blah, blah, blah. Like, I did that. I went out and I shot out of that saddle, and when I don't hang my backpack, I don't put my bow strap, none of that stuff. And
my biggest thing was that I recently moved houses and all that, and I put all my stuff in like 13 different totes, and that was just trying to get everything choreographed together and all that. And then mixing camera gear is just... I'll probably mention camera gear 100 times in this podcast, but like it's a weird dynamic because it's like you're like, oh, make sure you have your release, make sure you have this. And like when you have the camera, you're like, okay, make sure you have this lens and that lens, and then this, and then it was supposed to rain that night. Rain said it was coming in, so I was like, okay, I got to make sure.
Well, yeah, because we were going to go out earlier, and then it started raining, and then it was raining harder. And then, like, I looked at the weather, and I was like, that's what it was. It was 3 o'clock because it was 2:50.
Yeah.
And
I forgot we went in the rain. It was not like rain, but it was just like, it was enough to get you wet.
Yeah, but it was like 2:50 is when the last little bit of that storm was going to come through. So I'm like, well, we got to wait until then. And so we got ready, and we walked out, and like basically by the time we got set up, like it quit raining. Yeah. So it was 2:53. It was 3 o'clock, like basically when we headed out there. So
Central Time.
The vortex.
Yeah.
And so I mean, I guess like the rest of the story is pretty funny, like from like your perspective. So
I don't know.
We're sitting there.
All right, go ahead.
Yeah. So we're sitting there in the tree, and it had to been like
2 hours at least.
Yeah, 2 hours. And because like watching these bears on the camera, I was waiting for them to come, like looking the way that I was looking. Like the bear from the day before came from the right. And there were other bears on the camera that were coming from the left. And the wind was still good. The wind was basically in our face, like, the whole time. So I wasn't worried at all about the wind, but I was like you said, like I had written off that bear from the right. I was like, that bear's not coming in, but I was waiting. So there's these like two like smaller, like medium-sized bears that are like together, that are like probably like cubs that had just got kicked off or whatever. Because there is a sow with like little cubs, but would you say those bears are bigger than those, but not?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so they're like small bears, but not cubs. Right. But there's two bears that have been coming in, and so they were coming from the left every time on the trail. So I'm like, I was dead set, like,
yeah,
right there. These bears are just going to come waltzing in.
And in the context, like Adam's in a tree, he's kind of facing the right side. The bait's at
12 o'clock.
12 o'clock, and he was looking at basically he's facing 3 o'clock. I'm at his 6 o'clock, but I'm like, what, 15? I don't know, 15 yards away?
Yeah, probably.
Like 15 yards away, and I'm facing his 9 o'clock. His 9 o'clock from where he is.
So we're like covering every
yeah,
direction.
we're covering another way. But I like because I had like this little tree right here behind me, and I couldn't look to the right if I wanted to be, efficient. You know what I mean? But so I was just looking the opposite way, and I don't know. I think we can go into it, right? Yeah. So like it's been 2 hours, and we were doing some filming and stuff. Like I would film him, like do some stuff and all this.
And my phone had died too, so that was out of the question.
Yeah, so there's like a 2-track kind of like 20 yards away that runs parallel with us. 3 to 9 o'clock, and so I see the bear go from there through the trail and then into this little patch of woods and all that. And then by the time that happens, like I'm grabbing my camera and I'm trying to communicate to Adam. Well, we didn't work this out previously, and I don't know if Adam's deaf or whatever, but I'm not trying to be loud. So I'm snapping. I'm doing some like Adam. And then I'm like, dude, he has to hear me, but he doesn't want to make no sudden movements. Remember that, because this comes up again. But so finally Adam looks at me, and I go, bear. And he looks at me like I'm dumb. I'm like, bear. And then like I kind of make the hand signal where it came from. He finally goes, and he's still looking at me. I'm like, right there, bear. Like, I'm like, dude, bear. And he finally turns, and then I lose sight of it. And then I think you can.
Yeah. So he says, I look back and he's like, bear. But he's looking at me, so I'm like, huh? Like, what? What do you mean, bear? Like, yeah, okay. Do you see a bear? And he's like, bear. So I look over there, and then I'm looking, and then it comes down like into the 2-track, and I would say that it's very clearly the bear from yesterday. It's like this big bowling ball of a bear, and it goes and like dips down, and then it goes behind this goes down like in these cattails, and then it goes behind this like pine tree.
How far was it from you at that point?
It was probably like 40 yards, 50 yards maybe.
Yeah.
But it may have been closer, but it was just really thick.
Right.
And so when I saw the bear, like I saw it dip down, I grabbed my bow, and I'm thinking it's just going to come walking like right up the thing. It goes behind that. It's moving towards the bait. So I'm like looking.
Yeah, because it would be like, what, 20 yards from the bait right there?
Yeah.
And it's like almost where you see it last is like almost parallel with the bait. So you're like,
it would have just walked straight in like it did last night.
It's going to do its thing, check the wind or whatever, or do its sniffy thing, go to bait.
And so I'm just like focused in down there. I'm like trying to see where this thing. I'm bobbing my head. I'm looking around, and so the whole encounter like literally was like 15 minutes long.
Yeah.
Like, so I'm like looking down there, and I'm like, what the hell? Like, what's going on? Man, I'm just like laser focused down on there, and
I'm just over here. I can't see nothing. I lost it, but he's bobbing his head like this. So I'm like, okay, I think he sees it, and it's just like hung up or something. He's just trying to determine something and all this, and then he's doing that. And then eventually I think you look back at me, and like I can't hear shit what he's saying. He's trying to word something out to me, and I'm trying to look through the camera and look at him at the same time, and he does the hold the 2 fingers up and go to your eyeballs like, do you see it? But I don't know if he's saying I see it or like, do I see it? And I kind of shrug like, no, I don't, because I think that's what he's saying at that point. So he goes back, and then he's bobbing and weaving over in that same spot he'd last seen it.
Yeah, and so I mean, I'm just like looking, and then like I'm still just looking. And then all of a sudden I hear like, Adam, I. And I look back and he's like pointing the other way.
Yeah.
And he's like, over there, bear.
Yeah, and then exact same. He's still bobbing and weaving over there. This bear must have J-hooked all the way around the bait site, and it's coming in from the bait site, and it's probably 40 yards away, maybe 50 yards away from the bait site. I think when I see it, when it's coming around, maybe not that far, but
No, I think it was further away.
maybe it was. Like I said, it's hard to depth from because I'm so much farther from you. So maybe it was 60 yards or
and
something.
the thing is that this thing circled all the way around the bait site. It probably traveled 80 yards
Yeah.
from like where I lost it to where I picked it up again without a frickin' sound.
Yeah.
Like just dead quiet.
Yeah. So it comes around, and I see it, and I'm swinging the camera, and I go, oh, okay. And it's coming in, and Adam's still bobbing and weaving over at that other location. I was like, oh, man, he's not going to see it. And I don't know, this thing is all spooked out. So I was like, Adam. I'm like, dude, he has to hear me, but he's not making no sudden movements. And then I see him do one last bob, looking for it. I'm like, he does not see that fucking bear, dude. And I finally, I don't know what I say or something. You finally turn around, and I just go, like, a hard chop, like right there. And I think by time you turn, slowly look, that bear was at 30 yards.
No, it was farther away
You
than
think?
that. Like,
I don't know.
it was probably, yes, okay. It was probably like 30 yards from the bait.
Well, okay, yeah.
Because I'm like, what? No, it was probably like 30 yards from the bait. So it was probably, 50 yards or so from me. But I seen it, and it came around, and it had like committed to the bait. Like I knew, like in my mind, that it was where it was going.
My mind was totally different, but okay.
And so it comes in, and it like goes behind the bait, and it comes around, and it stops, and it's facing directly towards us. And again, like I said, the wind was like right in our face. Like maybe it was either blowing like 12 to 6 or like 11 to 5. Like it was like I had no concerns about the bait, and it was stiff enough that there was no thermal. Like literally, one thing I did think about like the night before and like when we were sitting in that tree was like we're like almost on like the top of a bowl, like where this went down. So like the thermals would certainly drop down in there because it was definitely wet and cooler down by the bait site. But anyways, it came in and it was like looking around, and then it like turned, and like part of me thought like, well, I should draw like as soon as like I get the chance. And then if I had done that, like if I had drawn like when it went behind the barrel, I would have been holding for like a long time. So I was like, no, I'm not going to do that. So it came and it was like looking straight at us, and like in my mind I was like, man, I'm really glad that I didn't draw, because I would have to shoot. There's no good shots right here. And so then it turned back around to leave, and like, what were you thinking? Like at this point?
That's like he didn't draw. I'm like, whenever he goes behind the barrel, he's gonna draw. And then, like in my eyes, I was like, he's gonna go behind the barrel and then hit the bait. And then he didn't draw. I was like, Adam, what are you doing? But it was like, now I look through the camera, I was like, okay, I get it. But like, it's so hard from like reality to what you think has happened. Like, oh, it went behind that barrel and then all that. In real life, you look at the camera, it was like a second, dude. So, and then it came out, the bear came out, looked exact right where he saw that bow, or what we thought he maybe saw the bow, but I'm pretty sure he saw the bow, or she, whatever. Saw the bow. And I was like, oh, no. Like, she's going to look right up. And then she turned back around and basically went back to the barrel. I thought she was leaving because she, like, looked at, like, where she was, and then went back behind the barrel, and then she, like, spun. And then...
Yeah, so she turned and went, like, back behind the barrel, and, like, she was turning. And, like, as soon as I saw her, like, shoulder, like, kind of come back around, like, I drew. And it's in my, like... in my head it took forever, but like watching it back on the video, it wasn't.
Yeah, it was like,
but like she turned, and honest to God, like when we watched the video back, like I thought she was facing the other way. I don't know why.
No.
But so I draw back, and then she spins around, and I put my face into the string, and my peep sight and the sight housing were not aligned at all. And I was like, ooh. I took my head out, like I got my form back, I got everything lined up, I leveled it up, and this thing is like, I mean, it was like shooting at a billboard. Like it was big black, so I just put it like middle of middle kind of, and I just let it go, and the lighted knock didn't go off, but I heard it hit, and when it hit, there was like this big like letting the air out sound, and I was like, well, that's good. And then she whipped around and went behind the bait, and like, I mean, how long till she was like out of sight? It was like within 15 yards, and then you couldn't see her.
Yeah.
I thought she was like right there, and so I just went back to like what I know, and I kind of like looked back at you, and you were still like looking through the camera, so I just reached up and I grabbed another arrow out, and I'm getting another arrow, and I look back, and we like looked at each other, and we were like, oh my God.
Yeah. Yeah, I couldn't believe how it just played out. I was like, what just happened? Like, how did we get another opportunity? But then when you were grabbing a second arrow, it was just weird to me because I couldn't, no lighted knock. I couldn't see where the arrow hit. I could see the bear. It was obviously like, because it was like, you know, I mean, it got shocked. It was like, you know, you can see it, and then it ran out. So I was like, and then you start grabbing a second arrow. I'm like, what is going on? Why are you grabbing a second arrow? But I don't, whatever. But I was just like, and then I'm looking at you. I'm kind of like doing the thumbs up, thumbs down. Like, how do you think? And you're like, and you just go, shrug the shoulders, like, I don't know. I'm like, what? And then you're like, then thumbs up. You're like, I was like, what is going on, dude?
Well, the thing is like we didn't have like any of this communication like set up ahead of time. So like my question was, like, I was trying to figure out like if you got it.
Yeah, that's what you're.
Because we weren't like, he wasn't like directly behind me. He was like off to the side, so we had like different vantage points, and you know we had like no way of communicating. So like, I figured that you were on it, but you were like up and down, and I was like, I don't know. I was trying to ask you, like, did you get it?
Yeah,
and you're like, I don't know. I was like, did you see? And you were like, I didn't see. So I thought you were saying that you didn't get it on video, and I was like, oh man,
F that camera. I don't at that point, but yeah, you were asking me a totally different question. I was asking you. I was like, no, I didn't. I thought you were like, did you get it? Like, I was like, I couldn't see the arrow. I didn't see a late knock and all that. And you're like, so I was like, no. And you're like.
Yeah, because I
was like,
I was thinking like, did you get it? Like, did you get it on film? And you're like, you were like thumbs down, and I was like, what the fuck? Like, you had one job. Like,
I was like, what? But we were talking about I was like, did you? I was asking them like thumbs up on a good shot, like, you know. But
yeah, well, I didn't know. Like the knock didn't go off, but like I hit the bear where I aimed. So. And we're like doing this, and then we're like, then finally when we like got on the same page of like communicating, like we were asking each other and answering the same questions, it was like, should we get out of here? Like, what do we do? Should we go get something to eat? Like, what's going on? And then I was like, no. And then I was like, yeah. And then I was finally like, fuck. I was like, we got to get out of here. I was like, just leave everything. Like, I'll grab my bow, and we'll just get out of here. And so then we came back, and I already had dinner cooking, so we're like, we should eat dinner. And you're like, I'm not hungry. Like, I can't, like.
Yeah, I didn't want to go back out, but I was like, I don't have an appetite right now, dude. I don't know how you're even thinking about food right now, dude. And I was like, this is madness what just happened. And you're like, yeah, let's just eat, and we'll just hang out, wait for Charlie to get back. I'm like, I can't eat right now, dude. I'm like sick, but like happy, dude.
So then we looked at it like on the Insta360 and then on your camera, and like we watched it, and it was like, because I was like, I was like, it might have been like a little high, but it was like right where I, right where I think that you wanted it. And we looked back and we were like, that looks like a good shot.
But and to know that we were in the stand and we were like communicating with each other and all that before we got down, we heard a big stick pop, like
right when we were deciding to get down, like right when we started getting down, and it was like, ugh, did we like
just blow it out? Because we started to like talk, and right when we started to talk, we just heard a big stick just pop. So we're like, that was like,
let's get out of here. Yeah, we gotta go.
Just go. So at that point, it was like mixed emotions.
Yeah. So we come back and we look at it, and it looked pretty good. And so like I think I called my wife, and like I talked to her, and I was like, she's like, you better tell my dad. And I'm like, don't tell anybody anything, because I'm like, I hate that. Like, I hate, like, the whole celebration, like, oh, we freaking smoked them, like, oh, yeah. And then you're calling the dog tracker and, like, all this stuff. And so I was like, nope, we're not doing anything. And so we like watched it, saw the video, and we were like, well, I hit it where I aimed. Yeah. So it's like up to that. And I was using like, so we were even talking about it, like when we were like on the way up here and like what was going on as far as like what broadhead I was using and everything. And I went with a Magnus Stinger because I was afraid, not knowing anything about bears and like their, basically we had a different opinion of anatomy.
Yeah.
Because you were like, there's everything is like forward, and I was like, I think it's back. I think you're supposed to shoot like center of center, and we were like, oh, I don't know. Like, so we kind of were like, I was like, I was confident like where I shot, but you're like, you know what? It's like everything's forward, and I was like, I don't know. I don't think it is, but I don't know. I shot where I thought I was supposed to, but anyway, I was using that broadhead just because of the shape of it. I didn't want to use a mechanical that was gonna had an opportunity to like fail in the fat or the hair or any of that stuff. And I like that longer, pointier broadhead. So that's what I used. And so we get back here, and then I don't know. I feel like I was pretty calm, like calmed down. Like, did you calm down?
I don't think so.
Like
my heart was pumping out of my chest when the bear came in that second time. I don't know. I will have to see, but I swear you can hear my heartbeat on the camera, dude. It was loud. It was fun.
I meant like when we got back here.
Oh, yeah. I don't know, man. I was just like, I was trying to play it cool, you know what I mean? Just like, but I was just like, whoa, man, that just went down. So,
yeah, like I said, I came back here, like talked to my wife, and I was like, well, just wait for my dad, like whatever, like we got time. And then you came in, and like, so what was your recollection of like?
Well, I walked in, and you just kind of gave me this quizzical look, and you said, "Did you look at the quiver?" I said, "Hell no, why should I?" He said, "I said, do you have a shot?" He says, "Yeah." I said, "Did you get him?" "I think so." "Was it a good bear?" "Yeah, it was a great bear." And then I said, "Well, let's go." He said, "Let's eat." I couldn't believe that. Let's eat. Okay, so we ate.
Well, that's the thing is like, I don't know anything about bears, and like, you shoot them in the dark. You got to go into like, what did we tell you about like, this property?
If you get lost, don't go this direction. And that direction happened to be the direction the bear ran. They said, don't go that way as the worst way you could go if you get lost. I'm like, oh, okay.
And you go, is that the way that you get lost? And I was like, yeah. And it's just nasty. There's no ambient light at all. So it's dark as dark can be. And, so you either killed or wounded this thing that's, they're just big raccoons or whatever. Like, they're big predators, I mean.
Well, you can't see 10 feet in front of you.
No.
Maybe 5.
And so, I mean, I wanted to give an ample opportunity to not walk up on this thing. And then at the same time, like, we didn't even go down and look for the arrow. We didn't, look for blood. We didn't do anything. So we ate, got all of our shit together, walked down there, and it took a minute to find the arrow. Like, so the arrow must not have, like, it passed through, but it must not have, like,
yeah, it must have been hanging out or something.
because it went in like high, and then it came out like down by the back leg on the inside. So it like went through everything. And I was looking around because they're right behind there. There's a whole. I think Joe can probably like attest to this. Like, this property, like, you walk anywhere, and it's all like historical trails that are like down to the dirt.
Right.
And so there's like a whole bunch of trails. So I'm just going down this trail, and I'm going down this trail, and then you're like, hey, the arrow's over here. So we went over there, and the arrow's like completely covered in blood. The fletching's covered in blood. There was like a little bit of fat on the arrow, but it was just blood. And then the blood trail was, I mean, you were behind, you were hiding behind me.
Yeah, I was.
You're filming.
I was filming. I was making sure to get the back angle, but yeah, when he was walking with the, he had his bow extend. Don't act like he was a knight in shiny armor just going through there willy nilly. He had his bow out in front of him just in case something was coming. It'd be in between him. Like you said, you can't see 10 feet in front of you, let alone. So you go over this little brush pocket, and then all of a sudden there's a wounded bear. It's not going to be a fun time. And it's like these not big drop off. It's like these swamp pockets. You go over, and then all of a sudden you're dropping 2 feet into these.
It's like all these root balls.
yeah.
Like, it's like moss, root balls, muck, and cattails.
Yeah.
But all underneath like a cedar canopy.
Yeah, so it's just like.
And there's some birch in there too.
I don't think the blood trail for the first like 10, 15 yards, but the thing's boogieing, I mean, like, you're looking, you're like, oh my God, I haven't found blood in like 20 yards, but that thing did that in 2 fucking leaps. So, yeah, so I don't know. Adam was like leading the charge, I was just with the camera. So I was like, the blood didn't look so good. I mean, it's not that it didn't look good. It wasn't, a lot, but them bear, they get plugged up so quick with all that fat and all that. So
yeah, and it was just like we found the first spot of blood, we found the arrow, then there was a spot of blood, then there was blood, and granted, like, again, we didn't have like a Milwaukee work light or anything. Like, we had a headlamp, you had like the camera light, and my dad had like the worst light ever.
Yeah, Menards.
Yeah, you're oh, he just had to take a piss, so he'll be back here in just a second. But he had a light that was less than stellar. I didn't even have one, so like I mean, I guess he had a light. I had to borrow Joe's. Mine was in the truck. I couldn't find it. Like, again, first sit of the year, like, trying to find all your stuff, and so it was like a little spot of blood, then blood, and then it was like, okay, it was like. There's blood like every 5 feet or so, but looking at it, looking for it, like in the dark, was like terrible. So end up going, and then like the blood stopped, and then I looked up, and there's just like this big black thing. I'm like, there's a bear, I'm like, dead bear. Like, I thought. But I didn't just go charge it up there. Like, I made like a circle around it, and I looked and this thing was like laying on its back with its like tongue out. And I was like, okay. And it was dead for a long time. Yeah. Like, it was probably that big stick that we heard was the bear.
Yeah.
And so, like, Dad, for you, like, what was your blood trailing experience like?
I never saw a piece of blood. When I came back to camp, you showed me that video. In my mind, that bear went a different direction. It went straight where it veered off to the right, according to the blood trail, which was obviously the way it went. So I'm over here in the cattails and mud and bog and everything else. And finally, I started working my way over toward you guys because and of course, I can't hear anything. I'm deafer than a stone. So if you guys are talking, I can't tell what you're saying. So I didn't know if you had blood, you were just stumbling around over there, but I went over that way anyway. And about the time I got there, I looked down and I go, was that a bear? And Adam goes, yep. And then we tried to roll the thing over.
Oh my God. It was, I couldn't imagine, like, so we took this bear into the processor and they said they had one that was 200 pounds more than this bear, 250 pounds more than this bear. And I couldn't imagine in my life. Like, this bear it ended up being dressed out at 327 pounds, which is everybody says, 400-pound bear, blah, blah, like whatever. I think about that. You just see pictures of bears and like my dad and Frank, they had put these sticks, they'd measured them for like the legal length and height of a bear. And I don't know, like even watching it on the video, it's deceiving because it doesn't look like that bear's like that much bigger than that stick. But this bear looks like a bowling ball. Well, frickin' when you walk up on it and you're trying to roll it over, and we were like, oh, it's probably like 250 pounds. Like, 250 pounds, like dead weight, like blah, blah, blah. We roll this thing over to like gut it out, and its chest is as wide as my chest, at least. And you're like, holy shit. So we get the thing manipulated around, gut it out, and from where we found the arrow, which was, how far do you think that was from behind the bait?
10 yards maybe. I don't even think that,
but from the arrow to where the bear died was 73 yards, according to Spartan Forge. That's how long the track was. So basically, we had to drag this thing out like 100 yards to the opening to get it like on the four-wheeler. And how long did that take us?
Oh.
Well, I felt bad because I went back to get the four-wheeler and thought I could go around the side of that ridge there to where you could walk out to high ground, make it, 30 yards shorter or something. Well, I got down in there, and there were so many ruts from it when it had been logged off. I couldn't even, my four-wheeler wouldn't even go through it. So I ended up turning the four-wheeler around and put it up high with the light running so that we had a direction. And
we had a direction?
Well, I was intending to help. But you guys got it out of there without my help. And I'm telling you, I can't believe you guys dragged that son of a gun. We couldn't even lift it into the trailer. We had to take the trailer off the quad, tip it up, kind of, I don't know what we did, kind of dragged the bear into the trailer and then tried to pull the trailer down so we can get the rest of the bear in it. It was...
Yeah.
It was something.
That's how they build the pyramids, baby. Leverage. But yeah, dude, that bear, like, it's like 100 yards, but like through the thickest, nastiest stuff. And like, I think the biggest problem is it's like a deer, you can like grab a leg or something. Like with the bear, you couldn't do that. We tried tying ropes around, like kind of around the neck and the arm so it wouldn't like slide off. That was just a problem. Then it was getting hung up on all these little stumps that you didn't see, and it was a chore. And it didn't feel like it was long, but I'm pretty sure we were pulling for like 45, 50 minutes.
Oh yeah, I think it's very close to an hour.
Yeah, only to go to 100 yards, like.
And then we got it to the trailer, and like, how the hell? We tried to lift it, and we're like, that's not happening.
Yeah.
And so then we had to do that. We get it back up to the house, or the camp here. And then we're like, well, what are we supposed to do? Because, like, I don't know. I maybe we could have skinned it out and then they could have measured it or whatever. But, like, that was kind of a joke as far as, like, the check-in process. But I guess, like, they didn't have to, like, make sure that bear was legal. Like, it was definitely legal.
Compared to the one
there was one that went in before us that was like one of the ones we were talking about. That was like the cubs that had been kicked off or something. It was quite a bit smaller. But then we were like, do we fill it with ice? Do we gotta like and then what time? I don't know what time it was. It was 11 o'clock.
It was
fucking who knows on Eastern
It was
time,
11
but
when we got back here. We were sputtering around a little bit, and then finally you said, "Call your cousin." So thankfully, my cousin answered the phone, and he said, "Well, just bring it up here. I got a cooler, and we'll put it in the cooler." And of course, that was what 25-minute drive up there, up to Bark River. So
yeah, so we figured it out, and then we ended up doing was stuffing it full of ice, and that was fine. That seemed to be the general consensus. But I mean,
well, it was 11 o'clock at night in the UP, the middle of BF UP, and there wasn't going to be any ice anywhere to be had.
Yeah, we didn't plan that out very well, but I mean, the whole thing didn't necessarily go as planned. I mean, it went, perfectly as planned. Like if you,
who the heck's going to go out and see a bear 2 nights in a row and shoot one?
I mean, Joe,
just Adam.
Joe's the only one that shot one 2 nights in a row.
I know.
So, like, I feel bad because like you came up here and did the baits and all that stuff, and and I said it earlier, like to these guys, and like these people are like, "Oh, great bear!" Like, "Oh, blah blah blah." It's like I literally like walked out there and just set up, and it wasn't like.
Well, you can't believe how proud it made me to see that all the work we did panned out, and that you got a bear, and that Joe got it on video. That was even more special. As special.
Why? Like that's the whole thing. Is like that. That's a cool part of like all of this stuff. Is like to be able to. Like, Joe and I were talking about it because they're like, "Oh, what are you gonna do with the bear?" Like we were talking about taxidermy and shit. And it's like to me, like the video, like you put it on YouTube or like whatever. Like so, they say like for all the bad that the internet is and everything lives in perpetuity, and they can go back and say, "Oh, you did this, you did that." Like, when you die or whatever, like, that mount, like, nobody's going to want, like, a bear deal. Like, nobody's going to want that. Like, they're not going to, maybe it'll go to a thrift store. Maybe it'll go somewhere.
To a restaurant.
Yeah. But it's not, like, that's not what's going to happen. They don't want that. That story kind of dies with you. But, like, having it on video, doing those types of things, like that, to me at least, is something where you can just bring it up. Like, I don't have to retell the story. It's not a fish story. You can't say, like, "Oh, that bear was 60 yards away and I shot," or like any of these things. Like that, to me, the video part of it is the coolest part about it. And, I can't really thank you enough for coming up here and being like, "Yeah, I'm going to drive all the way to the UP.
Yeah.
Do this."
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I get my joy. Like, I think you said that too with like when you were out in Montana with Tom and all that. Like you were there. Like I got the same enjoyment from not even being out there and pulling the trigger than just being there. I mean, like I don't want to say we got shot that bear, but like I was part of it.
Yeah, I mean, you had to tell me it was there twice.
Show you where the bear was and all that. But,
convince me to go back out to the same stand.
Yeah, but it was just one of them things. It was just, I was like, man, that's something special, and hopefully we can capture it. And that's what I would like to do, is hopefully we can tell a story through the lens. And
yeah, no, I mean, super fun. Again, like I feel bad because you've done all the work and all that stuff, and like you've yet to see a living thing. I don't know.
I saw a bird.
yeah.
But we had bears back in on camera last night. We had bears crossing the driveway like 10 minutes after we came back from dinner last night. So they're around.
I got a lot of time.
Yeah. Well, but so, okay. So, like, let's ask you, like, what did you learn from your experience getting that?
Oh my God.
Bear?
First off, I'm hunting with a rifle. I'm not hunting with a bow. Well, I shouldn't be on a bow hunter's podcast, but I am. I learned that if I bear comes in and I get the opportunity, I'm shooting it in the neck and dropping it there. I'm not. I'll be up here by myself. If I'd have shot that bear that Adam shot, it'd still be out there because I couldn't drag it 10 feet at a time. So that's one thing I learned. The other thing is that I'm going to go get some ice to keep on hand here. There's a half a bag in here, but that bear needed a lot more than a half a bag. It was 11 o'clock in the middle of nowhere up here, so there was no ice to be had. My cousin said that I'd have to drive about 45, 50 miles to Menominee to get ice at that time of night on what was that? That was a Thursday night?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Okay.
That's part of what I learned.
So, well, I mean, I got to thank you guys, a ton for the help getting it out, for coming up here video, and for setting the baits and all that stuff. But yeah, it was pretty neat. I'm glad it worked out. I feel like I'm getting more, from the world's worst bow hunter standpoint. Like, I feel like I was pretty composed.
I couldn't believe you were. I was more excited than you were.
But it was like, I was telling these guys, like, with deer, I feel like we're always hunting deer in transition. Like, because since we're not hunting bait, in, like, I don't usually hunt like field edges or food sources or like whatever. Like, and even like for example, like the deer that I killed last year with the longbow with the Patreon hunt, that was on a food source. Those deer but it wasn't like they weren't concentrated right at this one spot. They were moving, so you're trying to get them like where you wanted them. Like, when that bear committed, I was confident that it was going to go right there and it was going to be right there. So I just had to do my part and like make a good shot. And like, it's funny because there's so many other people that have said like, this or that about this is what goes through my head. But like, it was just like me. I was just like, okay, just make a good shot. Just, but I think the night before probably helped. Because, like, when I saw that bear and, like, my bow was on the ground, like, my heart was thumping. I was like, oh, my God, like, this is the one opportunity. Like, this is going to be it, And I feel like I maybe got that out of my system, So, I don't know. But, yeah, you guys got anything else? Like, that was kind of a pretty cool story.
Waiting to see the skin or the mount or whatever you are decided to have done.
Yeah, we'll see what I get back. I told them I just want to tan the hide and do a Euro on the skull. But I may, depending on what comes back, like what they do with it, maybe I'll do like a backpack mount or something like that, but whatever.
I was just amazed at how wide that head
was.
Well,
the chest was but the head is big. The
head was huge.
Yeah, it was a nice sized bear. I mean, I would have let it walk, but
needed another year.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Oh,
jeez. The cameraman fail.
Yeah. Well,
it's a good thing the other camera died, so we didn't get to see that.
This is the true.
I don't think.
Oh, that one died.
That one.
Oh, okay.
The full camera. But
well, I have a arm with a pickle jar holding it. So, I mean,
this is high tech.
Yeah, this is.
I mean, we're just learning every time. Yeah. We're gonna learn a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more.
Oh, it actually is showing my picture now.
Oh, yeah. So, but I mean, again, I just say thanks to you guys. I think that's kind of all we got for telling our tale of the bear camp so far, and hopefully by the time I put this out in a few days, my dad will have killed the bear and we can update you, but that's kind of all we got right now. So, thanks for listening.
Bow hunting all comes down to a moment. And in the moment, you want equipment on your bow that will get the job done. Trophy Ridge products are the tools bow hunters trust. React technology sights, rests, stabilizers, and quivers to help a bow hunter be successful in the field. And those tools are from Trophy Ridge.